Doctor Who. What's up, my Whovian homies? I am the Doctor Who Kid, and this week we are looking at Ascension of the Cybermen. So, the Doctor gave the lone Cyberman what it wanted, and now she is headed to the far future in order to defeat it on its own turf. And that turf turns out to be the far future, the aftermath of the Great Cyber Wars, where most of humanity has been wiped out, to the point that there are only 7 humans left on Earth. Don't worry, this is Doctor Who. I'm sure there's plenty of colonies elsewhere. But yeah, they meet up with some of the survivors, set up defenses pertaining to past cyber weaknesses, including the emotional inhibitors of gold. Nice touch there. Unfortunately, these defenses don't seem to do much because we get flying Cyberman heads as drones, laser blasting everything. They kill a couple of people, things get tense, and the Doctor's like, we're never going to make it to the TARDIS at this point. Go to the ship these survivors have, get out of the planet, I'll stay behind and do stuff. And they do so, but Ryan gets separated because of his dyspraxia. At least I'm assuming it's his dyspraxia. Let's face it, problems with coordination are certainly not going to help in a war zone where lasers are trying to kill you. And Graham and Yaz wind up having to blast off into space with 3 other humans, with Ryan left behind. So already we're establishing a lot of high stakes here. The lone Cyberman is back, and he's not quite so lonely anymore, because now he's backed by 2 2006 era Cybermen holding blasters. Hey, I remember those guys. And their guns from Army of Ghosts. Not to mention, hearing those old voices again after 2013. God, it's been so long, I almost forgot how much I missed it. So Ryan is able to meet up with the Doctor. He meets up with this other survivor called Ethan, and they steal a cyber ship and head on their way to the mythical planet Ko-Sharmus, which is said to hold a portal called the Boundary that will pop you to any random point in the universe, and it's the human survivor's last hope of getting anywhere in the universe safe from the prying eyes of the Cybermen. Meanwhile, Yaz Graham and that group find themselves careening out of control. They wind up boarding an even larger cyber ship and decide to steer that one towards Ko-Sharmus as well. And speaking of Ko-Sharmus, the Doctor's group lands on it, and it turns out, well, the Ko-Sharmus isn't the name of the planet. Ko-Sharmus is the name of a man who lives on the planet, who acts as a sort of gatekeeper for the Boundary. He explains he was also a human survivor of the Cyber Wars. He and his group landed on the planet, discovered the Boundary, they went to wherever it leads to, and he stayed behind to act as a gatekeeper, just on the vain hope that anyone else showed up. Yeah, he's quite nice, I like him. Back with Graham and Yaz's group, Graham and someone else who happens to be wandering around the ship. And we get a nice break this episode. Normally this season Ryan's been flirting with everyone else. Now this time he doesn't do that. It's Graham's turn. The woman he's hanging around with starts hitting on him. And he's just like, okay. So anyway, Graham and this woman are exploring the ship, and they make a terrifying discovery. The big ship they're on is a troop carrier. It's got hundreds of thousands of Cybermen. And not just any Cybermen. New and improved Cybermen with designs we've never seen before in the show. Meaning they're probably the most advanced Cybermen we've ever seen, ever. And I gotta say, these new designs look so cool. They have the 2012 era basic body design, a head that looks like a much sleeker version of the 80s, square looking thing. And they also have the John Lumick Cybermen eyes as well. It's like a nice blend of the 3 most coolest looking Cybermen ever. We don't really see them in action much because they get activated as part of the cliffhanger. But man, they look so awesome. Oh yeah, also the lone Cyberman and his 2 guards also teleport onto the troop carrier and start activating them all. And we get a cliffhanger involving them trapping Yaz, Graham and the others in a room with no way out, all slowly heading towards Ko-Sharmus. And that's not all we get for the cliffhanger, because when that gatekeeper is demonstrating how the Boundary works to the Doctor, Ryan and Ethan, the portal does something it's never done before. Opens up an image of where it's leading to. Gallifrey! And then someone pops out of the other side of the portal. And who could it be but the Master? promising that everything is going to change. To be continued! Don't, no! Why did it stop there? I was getting invested! Speaking of investing, we also kept cutting back to this, early 20th century Irish village where these guys find this baby and they adopt him and call him Brendan, and he grows up to be a police officer, and then he gets shot by a thief and falls off a cliff only to somehow survive without a scratch on him. And then he's an old man and he's having his retirement party. And then when he leaves the police station, he encounters his dad and the police officer who found him. And they haven't aged a day from when they found him all those years ago as a baby, despite Brendan being an old man. And they take him into a room and wipe his memory, and they hook him up to a thing, and it's all like, what did that have to do with anything? Well, that was Ascension of the Cybermen. Awesome action beats, intriguing mysteries, great new updates to the cyber lore. I rate it 10 out of 10, best Doctor Who episode ever! I am the Doctor Who Kid, and I will see you next week for The Timeless Children, the finale to Series 12.